So there we go. I want to move on to, I love that so I don't love what they're saying, but I love that this person is writing in. My question is about the police. Is it normal for autistic people to be afraid of the police? Since the incident in Arizona with the officer falsely accusing an autistic person of being on drugs, I am afraid of driving and law enforcement in general. And this individual goes on to say he wanted to share some advice for the mom and say, my advice as an autistic adult is to tell your child that whispering is quiet, for an example, that he may not understand that whispering is quiet. I love that. And he says that I gave an example of ABA working and that he feels that he also is an example of ABA working. So thank you for all of that. Let's go back and talk about the police though. Is it common for individuals on the spectrum to be afraid of law enforcement, Evelyn?
So I am going to assume that this person is a high functioning, whether it's a teen, adult, or whatever it may be.
Well, they're driving. So
yeah, they're driving, so they have skills. So one of the things just to realize is the things that you will see on TV are the things that are abnormal. Okay. So I know that there are many even, neurotypical people out there who don't watch the news because it just freaks them out. It's so scary to watch all the things that are happening. But one of the things to acknowledge is that what you're seeing is abnormal. So, or it's not, should not be the regular, duty of a policeman. Okay, so there is, I know, depending on the group that you come from and your experience with the police, there are different, different experiences that people have, and those different experiences influence how you think about the police. That's why everything that's going on right now, in our society about police is a big deal right now. So there are a few different things that you can realize is that, as long as you're following the rules and if somebody pulls you over, if you have someone in your life to teach you how to practice talking to a policeman for, like, let's say they pull you over for something that, you need to explain the basis for why you are doing things. You need to listen to them, make sure the policeman's able to explain why he pulled you over or why he stopped you or why he's interacting with you. But then you also have to give your reasoning, like you need to, it's really a good thing a lot of times that helps policemen is just to tell them, you know what, I'm really afraid, I'm on the autism spectrum. So I don't understand a lot of social cues that maybe you think you're telling me. So please keep that in mind when we're in this interaction. Like there's a lot of like, if you can give that kind of preface and do it very respectfully, a lot of people will just immediately start to help you. Okay. And you don't want to use it as a crutch. But the thing is, in that period of time, you have to tell them, maybe they don't know what autism is. So that's why I always tell people, and I tell this to parents all the time, is if you are telling your child that they have autism, it's better to tell them what they're not good at or what they're missing socially. Because if they come to somebody and say, I have autism, this is why I can't, that's why I don't do it. It becomes a crutch. And if the person hasn't had experience with autism, they don't know what that means. So it's better to say, like, I have really a hard time reading faces and reading social cues. So I might come off rude or inappropriate, but I don't know I'm doing that. And, so if you can tell the person, you're basically educating them a little bit about how you communicate before, right at the start of your interaction. It will help people work with you because it's not, you're not using it as an excuse, but you're basically telling them, hey, look, this is how I function and this is what I understand. And I know that I miss certain things and I'm not doing it on purpose, and if you tell people that, a lot of people will work with you no matter, who they are. It doesn't matter if they're police or a peer or, a friend out there or an acquaintance that you see in a grocery store. It's important to tell them that, like what your limitation is right at the beginning so that they understand like, hey, okay, I'm going to work with you on this, and of course there's going to be people who are not nice and who won't, consider it. But for the most part, I usually with the individuals we work with, if we teach them how to do this nice right at the beginning, and it's important it's at the beginning, most people will work with the person.
Yeah.
It shouldn't the fear shouldn't limit you from engaging in society.
And yeah, I have a couple of resources for you too. There's a film called Be Safe, the movie, and it is really meant for kids that are probably 10 through maybe teenage years. But I learned things from it. I learned things from it about how we interact with the police. It is made by Emily Island, and all the actors in it are actors on the spectrum. All of the police and first responders in it are actual police and first responders. And there's a curriculum that goes with it to teach both police and other people how to appropriately respond when the police are there. So if you need curriculum or a video to watch, I highly recommend it. But here's the other thing. One of the things that Emily and her son Tom do is they go to police departments, and usually the city will pay for it, and they do an interactive thing with individuals in the community and the local police. And I would highly recommend seeing if that's something that your local police would pay for and attending that. And if you feel that you can't do that, you know, my son grew up in the same town that Emily Island was living in. So I didn't have to do all of that with my police. All I had to do was call the police and say, hi, can I bring my son over to take a tour of the police department? And they were excited. And because I said, he's on the spectrum. I don't want him to be afraid of the police. I want him to understand who you guys are. And they were so excited. And I know we did that with the fire department. If you as an adult said, hey, I'm an adult on the spectrum, is there any way that I could come over and, chat with you guys? I just think that they would be so interested in that. I'd like to believe that. And I know that Emily and her son have done a lot of work in Arizona as a result of the incident that you're talking about. It's so scary, right? I just want to remind everybody that it's also scary for the police. They don't know what they're dealing with. And unless they know, they have a default that they go to. And it really is incumbent upon all of us that we educate them. I think you're in the catbird seat for that if you were to go over and have a conversation with them, they would be like, oh, this is an adult on the spectrum. I've met another adult on the spectrum and they are not alike. And even that awareness could change somebody's life. What a cool thing that could be. I'm getting chills thinking about it. So anyway, I hope that I don't want you to be afraid of the police. You may need them at some point.
Hey, thanks for watching Autism Live. To subscribe, click here. And if you'd like to check out some more of our videos, click here.